Welcome to part 1 of my build of the quarter-scale Taylorcraft Auster 5A based on the Jerry Bates Auster J1 Autocrat plans. This video is a slideshow with a voiceover of some pictures I took while building it. Day 1. And so I start my next project. This time it's a Taylorcraft Auster 5A TF-LBP. The basis for this build is Jerry Bates quarter-scale Auster J1 Autocrat. My prototype is different from his with a different engine and a longer side window. In addition, I will have to add flaps under the wing. This is the first aircraft in Iceland that was acquired especially for ambulance work. The original owners, Björn Pálsson and Lárus Óskarsson, bought the Taylorcraft Auster 5A from Great Britain in 1951. A year later, the Icelandic Life Saving Association became Björn Pálsson's co-owner. In 1954, the LBP transferred to Akureyri and was registered on behalf of the Life Saving Association's branches in the north and the Red Cross of Akureyri. I ordered the plans from Fighter Races in England, Jerry's representative in Europe, and the short kit from Sleck Manufacturing, who now own Bel Air Kits. They cut a large number of kits and their work is better than most. It took a few weeks to get the kit from Sleck, mostly because this was the first time they made this short kit, but in the end the kit arrived safe and sound and protected by 2 plates of 3mm MDF. I love the smell of laser cut parts in the morning. I started by going through the kit, taking the parts from the boards and inspecting everything. Then I started with the horizontal stabilizer. The plans show this in one piece, but the prototype has a 3-piece tail, 1 part in the fuse, and the other 2 come up to it, leaving a small, very small gap. I'm going to put 10mm tubes with 9.5mm tubes inside to hold the tail. I added these changes onto the plans with a red pen. Day 2. I had an enjoyable morning putting the horizontal stab together. It is made primarily from 10x12mm balsa and is rather simple. I glued the alignment tubes in with epoxy glue that I thickened with micro balloons so it would not run somewhere I did not want it to go. You can see on the photo 2 pieces of balsa that are not supposed to be there. They are ensuring that the tubes are parallel because otherwise I would not be able to join the halves together after I saw them apart. The tail fin is also made from 10x12mm balsa. Day 3. I found a sheet of chipboard and used my bandsaw to cut out the inside surface of the rudder and 1 elevator. Then I cut 10mm wide strips of 1.5mm thick balsa, wet them well in the workshop sink and put a lot of glue on them. Now it was an easy task to drape these strips around the forms. This will have to dry till tomorrow. Then I can do the other elevator. Meanwhile, I separated all other plywood parts from the boards in the kit. Day 4. The trailing edges of 2 control surfaces are ready, and so I puzzled them together. The third one will be ready tomorrow, and then I can divide the tailplane in 3 parts. Day 5. I enjoyed this morning putting the left elevator together. Then I sanded and carved both the tail fin and rudder. I installed the hinges and got them to sit perfectly. Note that the rudder reaches a little above the fin because there's a rod that sticks out of it with a blob of presumably lead on it that balances the rudder. Then I used a cut-off wheel in my Proxon grinder and a jigsaw to cut through the copper tubing in the tailplane. This parted amicably, and now I can separate the tailplane. In the prototype, the tailplane is held on with wires and some bolts through the leading and trailing edges. Here you can see the bolts by the root rib of the tailplane, both front and aft. Day 6. Good day today, after a day of no electricity yesterday because the melting snow shortened out the outside lights of the shop. I put control horns on both the rudder and the elevators. I had to recess the ones that Jerry recommends for the rudder. I then recessed a couple of plywood plates into the elevators and screwed the horns on. I used some photographs and a 3-view to alter the side elevation on the plans to make room for the window that goes much further to the back than the plan shows. This needed a lot of thinking and figuring. Just as well I had a good rubber, or what you call eraser in the US. Then I used some good 20-minute epoxy to glue together the beginning of the tank box. Here we have the firewall on top and the bottom and back of the tank box below. Day 7. Putting the first side together on top of the plan took some time, especially as I changed the look of the side using carbon fiber tubes. This way the model will get the look of the prototype. Here we have the engine mount with its sides on, as well as the first fuselage rib F1 and the front cabin floor. And here, these have been glued together using epoxy glue. The clamps will not be removed until tomorrow.